Hey, well, I'm gonna tell y'all up front. I don't know nothing about making a YouTube video, but I'm trying. So be patient with me. I wanted to bring this up because it's really bothering me. And what I want to talk about is the discrimination, housing, excuse me, discrimination. Let me tell you first a little bit about myself. I've worked all my life. I worked for government agencies. I've worked for housing authorities, the state of New Jersey, Department of Health. I've had corporate positions with very well known companies. I became disabled, and maybe back in the early 2000s, my kids were younger, and I had applied for a Section 8 because I was really struggling. I kept losing my job, or getting laid off, not losing, but getting laid off. And things were really difficult. So someone called me and said, "Hey, you're doing applications for Section 8. Why don't you try one?" I'm like, okay. I was on the waiting list for 10 years. My children had become grown, almost grown, when they called me and said, "Hey, we have a voucher for you." And at the time, I had just gotten laid off, but I applied for the job with a housing authority, and I wasn't to start until um, January of 2002. Got the voucher, didn't really have a problem. But once I started working for this PHA, I didn't work for Section 8, but I used to hear like people tell stories about how they were discriminated against because they had Section 8 and people didn't want to rent to them. And my kids would tell people all the time, "Oh, my mother works for housing." I would tell my children, stop telling people that I work for housing because I don't work in Section 8, I work in finance. But because people would come to me, I would try to help them as much as I could, tell them who to call or speak to the person and have the person to call them. I got laid off from the housing authority. I went to another job. I stayed there. I got laid off. I went to another one. I got stayed there, laid off. Then I ended up in 2020 with the health department, state health department, and right after that, I ended up getting laid off. I've always had somewhere decent to live, somewhere nice to live. Since I had the Section 8 voucher, let me tell you something. People treat you like a third class citizen. And I came on today and I said I want to discuss this because where I'm living now, it's decent, but when I first moved here, I explained to the landlord, "Hey, I'm looking to move somewhere, excuse me, where it's nice and quiet. I'm over 60 years old. Nice, quiet, tenants respect each other, everything." Landlord guaranteed, "Hey, it's nice there, everybody gets along, blah, blah, blah." First night I moved here, it sounded like people were fighting downstairs. This was back in October of 2020. Since then, it has been a nightmare living here. People smoking weed in the hallways, homeless people sleeping in the hallways. pit bulls running around, guys hanging out all in the front all times of night. Loud music, complaint after complaint after complaint to the landlord, and he does nothing. So I asked him to let me out of my lease because I can't live like this. I am not a savage. So I've been looking. I've been going on Zillow, apartments.com. I've been going on Trulia. I mean, all of different places. Wherever I could go, that's where I've been going because I'm desperate to get out of here. My nerves are on edge. I'm on anxiety medication now. I'm all stressed out. I went to go see several different apartments, and I'm mad as hell because these sites post these apartments. They look beautiful. They look beautiful. When you go and see them, it's a different story. I went to go see two apartments today that's managed by a company out in New York, but they manage properties here in New Jersey. So I went to one place, and when I walked in, I knew the house was a little older. It was a one family house. I knew it was older because I know that area. I used to live in that area. But it's very quiet over there. You don't have a lot of problems, a lot of drama. So I walk in the house. First room I see is a nice room. I walk in the living room, a nice room. Uh, Kitchen and everything nice. But see, because I used to work for housing, I knew a lot of the inspectors. I know what they're looking for. I didn't work directly in that department, but I work with that department. So they would just tell me stories about things. I mean, and being there so long, you learn a great deal. Unless you just one of them people that you just for a job, you don't want to learn nothing. That ain't me. I want to learn as much as I can so that I can move up the ladder. But that's another story. So this guy takes me to the apartment. Downstairs looking decent, but I started noticing a few things. Like I start opening the cabinets, like closets and stuff, pantries, and I'm looking. It looked like I was in another location. I'm like, this can't be the same house, and this is looking like this. So I said, let me inspect a little more. So I'm going through the inspection. Now I'm really being more detailed because of what I just saw. I look up at the ceiling. There's a hole in the ceiling. I could see right outside. They don't even have sheetrock there. This is like over the door. So I asked, I'm like, what is this? I said, Section 8 is not going to pass this. They need to fix that. And it's very simple because I used to be a buyer. Whatever it takes to fix up a house, to build a house, that's what I did. So I know what needs to be done and what it costs to have it done. That was my expertise. So the guy didn't say anything. So we go upstairs, and as I'm going upstairs to the second landing, there's dirt everywhere. Cobwebs, dirt everywhere. They didn't even care to clean this place. So I asked them, I'm like, what is this? What is this? And they're listed as we take Section 8. I said the housing authorities are not going to pass this